The time by Carrie Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The business news headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
Credit slowdown warning, transparency on trial, and a U.S. shutdown showdown. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Friday, October 10, 2025. I'm Rondine Williams. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast locally, JMMB CEO sounds alarm on credit slowdown, calls for BOJ rate cut. On the regional front, Auditor General flags over 70 procurement breaches in Cayman's 2024 report. And over on the global stage, White House fires thousands of federal workers as shutdown hits day 10. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after our first break.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMAX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMAX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
Me grew up and see my granny save her money under her mattress.
Exactly. Okay.
Your grandmother's house never burned down?
No, how you reach this, sir?
That was a one-off thing.
That could have happened to anybody. That's why you must put your money in a financial institution and protect it.
What if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in.
What you mean?
JDIC is a financial safety net which provides coverage for your money in case your financial institution fails.
Explain that to me.
Alright, because of the JDIC deposit insurance scheme, once you put your money into a financial institution like a bank or building society, you can get coverage of up to a maximum of $1.2 million per deposit of your financial institution if it should fail. And for even more information, you can visit their new website at www.jdic.org, and you can follow the social media platforms for the latest information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
The local news is brought to you by Darriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with a powerful call from one of the top players in Jamaica's financial sector. Jamaica's credit engine is losing steam. As interest rates climb, businesses are borrowing less and the pressure is mounting on the Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, to ease its grip. At the JMMB Group's annual general meeting earlier today at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, Group CEO Keith Duncan issued a stark appeal to the central bank: cut policy rates to unlock credit growth and stimulate the economy. He pointed to a clear slowdown in private credit expansion as the BOJ policy rate climbed from 0.5% to 7% during its inflation fighting cycle.
As they increase rates, you see the growth in private credit or loans to business began to slow because when interest rates were low, growth to business were increasing. As the interest rates begin to increase and get up to a higher 7, the growth in private credit started to slow and continues to slow, right? And inflation continues to, it had the desired effect of reducing inflation. So private credit has slowed, and private credit is used as a proxy for domestic demand. And inflation is within the range. Inflation came in at 1.3% at the last reading for August. Inflation is below the range of 4 to 6%. So therefore, we believe that, it's monetary policy. There needs to be a look at this from the Bank of Jamaica, a further look at this to see how they continue to ease monetary policy with further rate reduction.
Duncan also argued that with inflation now below the central bank's target range of 4 to 6%, the moment is right for a reset.
We believe that will give the financial sector, the banking institutions, reduce the cost of funds to the commercial banks so that we can further reduce rates to our lenders, to our borrowers, retail, corporate, small and medium enterprise.
Meanwhile, Jamaica's interest rate debate is heating up. As the central bank loosens its grip on monetary policy, the spotlight has shifted to the commercial banks and whether they're passing on those cuts fast enough. For months, borrowers have accused lenders of dragging their feet on lowering interest rates. But JMMB Group is pushing back, insisting the numbers tell a very different story. When the Bank of Jamaica began easing, trimming the policy rate by 125 basis points, frustrated borrowers demanded to know, where's the relief? Well, Group CEO Keith Duncan is responding, using the country's AGM to make the case directly and publicly.
There's a narrative that is built around the Bank of Jamaica increasing rates and reducing rates, and the banks not following the path of easing monetary policy and reduction in rates to their loan clients.
He says over the last 5 months, the institution has cut loan rates by 325 basis points and mortgages by 140, more than the central bank itself.
So while Bank of Jamaica was increasing rates from 50 basis points to 7%, that's 6.5% over a period of time, right? The JMMB Bank in Jamaica increased interest rates to our clients. How much did JMMB increase rates on car loans? 425, 4.25%. How much did it increase rates on mortgages? 2.9%. BOJ increased 6.5, 4.25 on car loans, 2.9. BOJ reduced rates by 1.25% or 125 basis points. On car loans, we have reduced our rates by 300, as at April 2025, 325 basis points, and on mortgages 140 basis points. So we have to clear up this and clarify the narrative and to demonstrate to your clients that we are in your world. Okay?
That was Group CEO of JMMB, Keith Duncan. First Rock Real Estate Investment has marked another major milestone in its regional expansion, completing its third development project with KFC Costa Rica. The development, which broke ground in April, features a modern restaurant and a state-of-the-art distribution. The restaurant was handed over in June, followed by the distribution center in August. This new facility is expected to significantly boost KFC's logistical efficiency across the region, enhancing its ability to scale operation. First Rock has credited the successful delivery to strong collaboration with Constark, KFC's development team, ITFCR, Back Credomatic, and other partners. In other news, former president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Jamaica, ICAJ, Alison Peart, has issued a hard-hitting warning to small business owners. Get serious about your financial records or risk losing the very profit you think you're making. Speaking with CBX News on Thursday at the ICAJ 2025 Business Conference, Pierce says too many entrepreneurs are mistaking sales for success while their bottom line quietly erodes.
It is very important for small businesses to ensure they have accurate financial records and that they're up to date. Cash is not profit. And if you're a small business and your financial statements, be even basic ones, go on the internet and make sure that you know what your profit is, you know what your cash flow is, and you know if you're making money. Because if your books and records are not up to date, let's say you're selling a product, you could be selling it at a loss, the foreign exchange running, you didn't build it in, and you could be subsidizing people. So as a small business, it is very important, if you do nothing else, keep your books and records up to date. It's not just for tax filing, it is to operate your business and know whether or not you should change your price, change your business, or perhaps do something else with your time in terms of making sure that you're putting effort in products, services that are making you the most money.
She urged business owners to view bookkeeping not as a chore, but as a strategic tool for survival and growth.
If your books and records are not up to date, you could be using old information, focusing your time on things that are not generating profit. And before you know it, you have basically become a charity because you're giving away your services.
That was former ICAJ President Alison Peart. We go now to the updates from the Bank of Jamaica on how the currency markets traded today. In Friday's currency trading session, the US dollar is selling for $161.62, the Canadian for $115.47, the pound sterling for $216.27, while the going rate for the euro is $186.97. We move now to the latest updates from the JSE equities market. In Friday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 101 stocks, of which 46 advanced, 40 declined, and 15 traded firm. Leading the winners are A.S. Braden & Sons Holdings, Productive Business Solutions USD Ordinary Shares, Cargo Handlers, and KLE Group. While leading the losers are the Limners and Bards, Palace Amusement Company, Kier Insurance Company, and ISP Financial Services. Now, the main index advanced by 289.97 points, or 0.09%, to close at 322,286.12 points. The junior market index also advanced by 2.27 points, or 0.07%, to close at 355.01 points.
And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standard.
In today's Market Education Feature, we're looking at the term gross margin. Gross margin represents the percentage of revenue a company keeps after deducting direct costs like labor and materials. It's a key indicator of profitability, showing how much of the company's revenue remains at gross profit. Gross profit is calculated by subtracting the cost of goods sold from the total revenue. A higher gross margin means the company retains more of its revenue, which can then be used to cover other expenses or meet debt obligations.
The Market Education Feature was brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
And that's it for the local segment of the newscast. Please do stay with us. When we return, we'll have the regional news.
The local news is brought to you by Diamond Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Serious about building Jamaica? Build with solid PVC pipes and conduits, manufactured in Jamaica by Phosphate, made to the highest standard. Solid PVC pipes and conduits are made in Jamaica by Jamaicans for Jamaicans. Available at hardware stores across the island. Take some solid advice, support our economy, and build well. Buy solid PVC pipes. Next time, ask for solid brand PVC pipes and conduits. Call our distributors or Phosphate at 876-937-5099.
If it were not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today. I called them, they listened to my concerns and my fears, and they gave me the answers. All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. This is one of the best decisions I have ever made in business. If you want to change the trajectory of your business and to grow, make that call today to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. You will be glad you did.
Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute taking, registered office address services, management of board and members meetings, setup and maintenance of corporate registers. Stay ahead with our proactive approach to new regulations. We operate under the Trust and Corporate Service Provider, licensed to the JCSD Trustee Services Limited. We're here to simplify your corporate journey, no matter the size of your company. Contact the Corporate Service Unit today and let's streamline your compliance journey together, because your success is our business.
Welcome back, and now for the regional business news. In the Cayman Islands, the Office of the Auditor General has issued a powerful warning on financial accountability, flagging dozens of procurement breaches in its 2024 annual report. Auditor General Patrick Smith isn't mincing words. His latest findings reveal a troubling lag in financial reporting, with only 10 public sector entities tabling their annual report on time. The sharpest warning, though, comes on procurement. The auditor uncovered over 70 separate breaches across 20 public bodies, exposing gaps in compliance with the Procurement Act.
Within the report, one of the key things that I expressed concern about is the timing of the annual reports being tabled within the Parliament. The annual reports provide critical information for the public and decision makers, and it is expected that after the financial year end, within at least 6 months, those are actually tabled to make them relevant and timely for users. At this point in time, there are only 10 that have been tabled for 2024. I would really expect that by the next 3 to 6 months, that all of them will be tabled so we can restore some transparency and accountability. Procurement is a very important area, and the legislation is pretty explicit and pretty clear. But yet still, we saw that there were 71 different cases where there was actually breaches of the legislation by 20 different entities.
That was Auditor General for the Cayman Islands, Patrick Smith. Regional leaders and international partners are calling for urgent and decisive action to tackle what they describe as one of the Caribbean's most pressing economic and social threats, food insecurity. The appeal came at the opening of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture 2025 in St. Kitts and Nevis earlier this week. Speaking at the event, Representative and Country Director for the World Food Programme, Brian Bogard, says the Caribbean can no longer afford to rely on narrow food import markets and fragile supply chains that are vulnerable to shocks.
Food prices in the region are already amongst the highest in the world and represent the principal driver of food insecurity for the poorest populations, including those struggling to recover from the impact of climate disasters. We must confront the systemic vulnerabilities that expose the region to global price shocks. Narrowly based food import markets, real-time supply chains, and limited productive and processing capacity leaves the Caribbean vulnerable to every storm, pandemic, and distant conflict.
He says food insecurity remains one of the region's most urgent challenges.
An estimated 3.2 million people, or 42% of the English and Dutch-speaking Caribbean, are food insecure. This inequality in access to nutritious food is not just a number. It manifests in the daily reality faced by people across the Caribbean and undermines health, education, and economic opportunity. While we rightly set goals and targets in terms of economic and trade data, we should also seek to frame success around progress in achieving food security outcomes, with a particular focus on improving access to food for populations represented in bottom quintiles of income measurements.
That was Representative and Country Director for the World Food Program, Brian Bogard. In other news, Bermuda has shifted from talk to tangible action on the cost of living. On Thursday, the Ministry of Home Affairs unveiled the Affordable Bermuda Agenda, a phased plan built on public evidence, immediate relief, and structural reform to bend prices over time. Speaking during the press conference, Home Affairs Minister Alexa Lyburn says the first phase of the project includes a 9-month, 20% cut on everyday essentials starting November 1.
The Ministry of Home Affairs presents the Affordable Bermuda Agenda, another concrete step towards cost of living relief. We listened, and now we have shown the actions taken because of the moral urgency of the lived realities of our community. The Affordable Bermuda Agenda represents phase 1 of this plan, and we will continue to refine the additional proposals for viability before publication.
That was Bermuda's Home Affairs Minister, Alexa Lyburn. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 21 securities, of which 4 advanced, 5 declined, and 12 traded firm. Today's winners are the West Indian Tobacco Company, Trinidad Cement, National Enterprises, and Republic Financial Holdings, while leading the losers are First Citizens Group Financial Holdings, A.S. Bridens & Sons Holdings, Unilever Caribbean, and Massey Holdings. Now, trading activity resulted in the following movements. The all TNT index declined by 3.01 points to close at 1,439.41. The composite index also declined, but by 1.56 points to close at 987.55. The cross-listed index remained at 70.50, with the SME index also remaining at 99.17. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
Mikey, is what sweet you saw?
Dear babes, where's the catty? You need to go party tonight.
Party? You secure your future yet? Careless.
Did you know that over time the stock market has provided a reliably high return on investments? Be sure to contact a licensed stockbroker for more information on this exciting investment opportunity.
Taking care of business, Mikey?
Yeah, catty. I secure my future. Want to come look over my stock portfolio?
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. And now the international news. The White House has taken a drastic turn in the ongoing government shutdown, firing thousands of federal workers across key agencies as the funding lapse enters its 10th day. Budget Director Russell Vaught confirmed the layoffs today, calling them reduction in force. The cut spans major departments, Health and Human Services, Homeland Security and Commerce, marking the first mass termination of federal employees during a funding lapse in modern history. Federal labor unions are challenging the move in court, arguing it will deepen the economic fallout and violate workers' rights. A judge in San Francisco is set to hear the case on October 16. We move from Washington's political story to a legal showdown playing out across the borders. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission says India has yet to act on its request to serve legal summons to executives of Adani Group, including founder Gautam Adani, over allegations of security frauds and a U.S. $265 million bribery scheme. The SEC told a New York court that repeated communication with India's law ministry has gone unanswered. Both executives remain in India, and the agency is now turning to Hague Service Convention to move the case forward. U.S. prosecutors have accused Adani executives of bribing Indian officials to secure electricity purchases, then misleading U.S. investors about anti-corruption safeguards. The company has called the allegations baseless. And from the courtroom to the high seas, where tensions are also rising in the global shipping lanes. China is hitting back in the trade war with new retaliatory shipping fees aimed squarely at the United States. Starting October 14, the country's Ministry of Transport will impose tonnage fees on U.S.-flagged and U.S.-owned ships calling at Chinese ports. The move mirrors tariffs set by Washington earlier this year under Section 301 of the Trade Act. Fees will start at U.S. $56 per net ton, slightly higher than the U.S. rate, and escalate through 2028. The announcement comes just weeks before a scheduled meeting between Xi Jinping and Donald Trump at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, raising the stakes for trade negotiations. And finally this evening, a fast fashion controversy is heating up in Paris. Workers at a prominent department store in Paris staged a protest today against management's decision to give Shein a permanent retail space on its 7th floor. Union leader says the decision could accelerate the departure of several French brands already planning to exit the store. They also warned, with the late payments to suppliers and product shortages mounting, that Shein deal is deepening fears of layoffs and long-term financial instability. However, management insists the partnership is meant to attract younger shoppers and boost foot traffic, but for many workers, the move represents a cultural commercial shift that threatens the store's legacy in the heart of Paris. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. Please do stay with us. When we return, we'll have your news recap.
Okay, I just sent the money. I'll WhatsApp you the tracking number.
Thanks, Daddy. I can't wait to buy that PS5.
Listen to me. Your birthday money is not just for spending. Remember what I told your mom? Remember to open the bank account immediately after collecting the money. Your mom has her ID, TRN, proof of address, proof of income, and your school ID.
I'm not an adult yet, so mommy will have to open the account with me.
Yes. Anyways, I'm headed back to work, so call me later. I love you guys.
This financial literacy tip is brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, promoting financial inclusion. For more information, visit our BOJ Real Talk playlist on our YouTube channel.
It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Don't never, ever, ever wanna calm down. Oh, no, no. Yeah, yeah.
And now to recap our top stories in the local news. JMMB CEO sounds alarm on credit slowdown, calls for BOJ rate cut. Regionally, Auditor General flags over 70 procurement breaches in Cayman's 2024 report. And internationally, White House fires thousands of federal workers as shutdown hits day 10. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rondine Williams. Thanking you for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.